Today, every day, small cap investors visit Agoracom knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. Agoracom, find your dream. Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives right after they put out big news. And big news is what we have today with Alex Somjen. He's president of Hollister Biosciences. The company trades on the CSE under the stock symbol HOLL, and for our friends in Europe on Frankfurt under HOB, and for our friends in the US, HSTRF. Now, for those of you new to the story, and that's still going to be some of you because the company's growing, but this is an amazing story. Hollister is a multi-state cannabis company. They've got multiple high-quality products that are now carried in 230 of California's 600 dispensaries. So that penetration alone is fantastic. And they're also in 80 dispensaries throughout Arizona. In California, they've got the number one, at least last time we spoke, we'll get that update from Alex, the number one hash-infused pre-roll called HashBone. Now, more than just lip service, that a lot of talk. All that is translating into incredible numbers. They just put out their Q2. That's what we're here to talk about. Record revenue, $8.5 million. I'm rounding up just a little bit there, versus 200,000. Guys, that's 4,107% growth. And it's profitable because they had a net income of 300,000 come out of that. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Here to talk about the company is Alex. Welcome to the show, my man.
George, thanks so much for having me on again. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for that terrific lead-in. Yeah, I mean, you said it. We're really thrilled to turn in such a strong quarter. We saw substantial year-over-year revenue growth across our three main verticals, which are concentrates, pre-rolls, and contract manufacturing services. And as you mentioned, we turned in a profitable quarter as well. And I have to give a big shout out to Carl and Jake and the rest of the team, because without their tireless effort, we definitely couldn't show this type of financial performance. So we're thrilled about it.
You said substantial performance, great performance. It's not. It's ridiculous performance. It really is. 200,000 in quarterly revenue Q2 to 8.47 million. And I know a lot of that is from the Venom acquisition, but a lot of that's from your organic side as well. Before we even dive into those numbers, how do you guys feel over there as a company? How should your shareholders be feeling about, this kind of a move?
Well, I think everybody should be feeling very positive. We're building some serious momentum here. We strive to, generate solid revenue, and we strive for profitability, and we've shown that in the Q2 results, and we hope to continue that performance. And I can tell you, everybody at Hollister is thrilled, and I think shareholders should be very pleased with the performance as well.
Let's talk about the numbers a little bit, and then I want to get into growth, because I'm doing some extrapolation, but I don't want to go there yet. That performance, where did it primarily come from? And where are you guys seeing growth drivers?
Right. So the performance was mainly attributable to capturing, both hard and soft synergies as a result of the Venom acquisition, as you mentioned. It's also attributable to increased brand awareness for Hollister's existing brand portfolio in California. And then also just generating efficiencies where and when we could.
One thing I want to talk to you about is the dispensary penetration. There are 600 dispensaries in California. You're in 230, so you're in over 33%. That alone, I guess, is a company maker, and people would be happy if that's where they were. Do you guys plan on growing that? Do you think there, as a result of the extract side or the new things you're doing, do you see that growing, or are you going to go in a different direction as far as growth goes?
Yeah, definitely. It's high on our list to further penetrate the dispensary network in California. We're also in 80 dispensaries in the state of Arizona as well through the Venom acquisition. As we engage in more strategic partnerships, the Tommy Chong Cannabis partnership really helps with that. Rolling out new products helps with further dispensary penetration. Getting Venom into California and then selling the Venom product line through the California dispensary network through our partnership with Indus will all be contributing factors to increase the number of dispensaries that our product line is found in. So that's definitely high on our list. We also think that, and we can talk about this maybe a bit later in the interview, but we also think that a direct-to-consumer delivery solution it makes sense in the current environment as well.
And we will talk about that. I want to touch on something you just said there about the dispensary. Venom is a really strong, powerful presence in Arizona, and you want to get those products into the dispensaries in California. How is that timeline looking? Because I've got to figure their products are so great, their extract products are so great in Arizona that the California dispensaries just are dying to get them. Even if you penetrate just the existing dispensaries you have without any new growth, what kind of growth could that look like just to get those Venom products into the California side of the business?
It's tough to put a number on, forecast percentage growth in terms of, how many dispensaries we can pick up. In terms of the design and build out of Venom's extraction lab in Hollister, California and Arizona are kind of different beasts in terms of how they're regulated. California is a bit more tightly regulated in terms of the specs to build out an extraction lab in the state of California, building out a C1D1 facility. So, and as everybody knows, the construction industry has been severely impacted by the pandemic. So we have seen some delay on that front. We're hoping to have the lab built out by year end. That's our hope. It could more likely be maybe Q1 of next year.
Okay.
But as we know, Venom's concentrates are incredibly popular in Arizona. They've captured big market share there. The California marketplace is a lot more competitive. However, we do feel there is a gap in the market for, well-priced, high-quality concentrates in the California market. So I do think we will see substantial dispensary growth once we do get Venom up and running in California.
Final question on growth here, as far as this side of the business. Should I just be extrapolating? And I'm not asking you to give a number because you can't. But look, $8.5 million, 8.47 to be exact. But let's round it up to 8.5. That's a powerful number. I extrapolate that over 4 quarters. That's $34 million in revenue. Is that a reasonable inference, or you might tell me, hey George, Q2 was just a really strong quarter that you can't extrapolate, or you might be telling me, George, we expect further growth beyond the 8.5 million quarter. How should shareholders be looking, if they have to kind of do some back of the napkin math?
I think it could be looked at as a base case. That's been our run rate year to date. We haven't yet expanded Venom into California. We haven't yet expanded into new states, and those are going to be key revenue drivers for us. So, I think this quarterly number is repeatable. All else being equal, I think this could be considered a run rate, and that's in USD, by the way. But I think it's also important to consider that, we haven't put any of these key revenue drivers in place yet. Expansion of Venom into California, new state expansion. So, I think those could be very accretive as well.
Yeah, and it makes sense what you're saying. I got to tell you, that's what really excites me here. It's almost like the 8.5 million now is your foundation base case, and you're growing from there. So I can't wait to see, what happens as you ramp up Venom in California. Let's switch over to, you mentioned it, so let's talk about it. Dream Delivery. That's your direct-to-consumer initiative that you expect to launch in Q4. Let's talk about how you guys, what was the reason for doing it, and how big you think that could be going forward.
Well, I think it's an important strategic shift for us. We look at the value chain and I think it is high on our list of strategic objectives to backward integrate and forward integrate. Backward integrate meaning, gain control, either contract supply of trim that feeds, our Arizona operation, and raw material that feeds our California operation, or acquire cultivation outright. And then in terms of forward integration, I think the pandemic has reshaped, possibly in a permanent fashion, consumer behavior. And I think, browsing a physical storefront, i.e. a dispensary, could be, de-emphasized. So, that led us to kind of accelerate our plan to roll out a direct-to-consumer solution, which we're going to call Dreamy Delivery. And we anticipate that we'll have the first delivery hub up and running in our home state of California by the end of this year. And then we'll expand outward into different counties, go through the licensing process, and hope to have statewide direct-to-consumer delivery in place by the end of next year.
Devil's advocate on that, because I always want to make sure these interviews, are really A, interesting, and B, truly, if I can feel what the shareholders are asking at home, I want to be able to almost, channel them through me. So devil's advocate, one, is there any chance that you might actually, this might hurt your dispensary business? Is there a chance that the dispensary saying, hey, Hollister, if you guys are going direct to consumer, we can't support that because you're going directly after our customers? Do you think you'll get any pushback from that?
I think it's possible. However, I do think there's the possibility for the two to coexist for quite some time. And I think, certain market segments, maybe the younger demographic, that are so mobile enabled might, who aren't necessarily as keen to visit a dispensary might be, more attracted to the ability to, browse product online and then order it direct to their doorstep.
And the second devil's advocate question is, how do you make sure, because anytime you go direct to consumer, I've seen typically those models can get really expensive. Because now you got to do marketing. You got, whereas, in a dispensary or agency model or distributor model, you let them do all that work. So how do you make sure that going direct to consumer doesn't eat up the company's financing in terms of marketing costs and even infrastructure, right? In order to set up a statewide delivery. Don't get me wrong, that sounds amazing. I think that's the future. I think going direct to consumers, you have to have that. But how do you give shareholders comfort at home that you don't end up chewing through the company's successful finances to get there?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it can be outsourced, and there are a lot of cost savings available to you to roll out a direct to consumer model. I think the message is that we're going to take it slowly. We're going to take it county by county and see how it goes, and ensure that the direct to consumer side of the business is feasible and profitable before we expand it aggressively. So we'll start in our home state, home county, and expand outward from there strategically.
Beyond the venom extract acquisition, the concentrates, that's great. Beyond your organic products, as before venom, you're already in 220 dispensaries in California. So bam, solid. Something a lot of people may not know is you've also got some great JVs and partnerships. And high level. And the one I want to ask you about, because you kind of mentioned in the press release, is about this partnership with Tommy Chong and his brand. How's that developing, first of all? How's that coming along? And how do you see that aiding in your growth outside of just more sales?
Right. So obviously that's a very high profile JV partner we have in Tommy Chong's Cannabis. Very happy to report that the 1-to-1 elixir, Tommy Chong Elixir, is launched in the market. It's available for sale currently in 20 dispensaries in California, and that number is growing. So again, that type of new product is really powerful in terms of getting us into new dispensaries. So I think it's really going to help on that front. And I just think it kind of lends a lot of credibility to our overall cause to have such a high profile JV partner that is keen to work with us.
And what does that say? Clearly, what does that say about the industry's perception of what Hollister can deliver from a quality point of view and from a operational point of view to have a brand like that? Because that's no small decision. I'm sure there are a lot of people who were vying for that partnership. I'm sure Tommy Chong was just doing the brand was just doing you guys a favor. What does that say about what you guys are able to deliver operationally and QA wise?
Well, I think it says that, we are good operators, and that we have a lot of manufacturing and processing expertise. We have access to good distribution channels, and, our growth prospects look really good. Tommy Chong, I believe, obviously it was relationship driven, but I believe chose to partner with us because he chose to grow with us. I think it does speak volumes for, our prospects going forward.
I've got to ask, when all that really starts to roll out, what are the chances of us being able to get you and Tommy Chong on here for a Zoom interview in the future?
I think it's definitely possible, and we'll have to get Carl on as well. Obviously, Carl's, that's Carl's relationship. But yes, I think that is definitely possible for the near medium future.
Last question for you, and this is now, the really big picture. Given what you guys are able to deliver in terms of everything we've talked about, so I don't need to recap all that. And given the disappointment that cannabis investors have had in the first guard, who I now see becoming the old guard, right? Is it fair to say, or is it too early? Is it fair to say, though, that Hollister is looking like it's part of the new leadership group, the group that actually delivers what it says it's going to deliver, isn't burning through cash, isn't missing deadlines, isn't out there scrounging to reorganize, lay off 50% of their people? Is it too early for that? Or do you think Hollister is now, with this result, this record revenue number, moving into leadership role of the new pack?
Well, I would definitely say that we're off to a good start. We're off to a good start delivering the quarter that we did, the revenue growth that we did, the fact that we're an MSO that delivered a profitable quarter. I would say we're off to a good start, and I would say that actions speak louder than words. So we hope to continue to deliver results, strong results, and we hope to show future growth and profitability. And we hope to continue to announce exciting strategic partnerships, exciting M&A, be good stewards of capital, and do smart deals. But the answer to your question ultimately is, I think we're off to a great start, I think I don't want to say that we're there yet, but I think we're definitely going in the right direction in terms of the changing of the guard that you spoke about.
I love the humility in that answer, Alex. That probably speaks volumes as to why you guys are so successful at the end of the day. Because I can tell you, if Agoracom revenue went from 200,000 in Q2 last year to 8.5 million this year, I'd be feeling pretty damn great. I know you guys feeling great, but I love the humility. That says a lot about the leadership style and kind of nose down, get the job done style.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
You've been watching, or if been on a podcast, listening to Alex Somjen. He's president of Hollister Biosciences. The company trades on the CSE under the stock symbol HOLL. For our friends in Europe, on Frankfurt under HOB, and for our friends in the US under HSTRF. Now, put down Netflix, stop social media scrolling. There are more important things to do, which is due diligence. You've watched what Alex had to say. Now you got to do your part. Get over to Agoracom, punch in the company's name or stock symbol. Go through the profile page that we got there for Hollister, because there's a lot to consume in one interview if you've just discovered the company for the first time. But it's all really nicely laid out there for you. Plus, you can go back and watch a couple of previous interviews that we've done with both Carl and Alex. Powerful stuff. And the most important thing you're going to get from it is that the company actually delivers what it says it's going to deliver. Do due diligence, because the cannabis, in this decade is going to be a monster industry. We already know that Congress is going to be voting on the possibility of legalizing cannabis federally. Now, we know it's not going to have a ton of success in the Senate, but the shift has already started. It's going to come at one point, and you want to make sure you discover Hollister in 2020. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Have a great Labor Day long weekend to everybody the next few days, and we'll see you next time.